You have to get rich now, or else you might not get another chance like this for a long time, or ever to become wealthy or even comfortable, because this time is different. I know in today's world it's hard not to feel like the world isn't turning into or going down the path of one of those dystopian futuristic movies that we used to watch as a kid, where there was only the rich and everybody else. That's a horrifying thought, but a thought that actually lives more in reality than fiction. I mean, look at the world now. The International Monetary Fund said that the top 10% of earners earn 52% of all the world's income. So we're actually living in the beginning stages of those movies. Now the world is changing for the better of the human race, but for some it's an infinite amount better than others. Now some think it's at the expense of our planet, health, and human rights, and they're absolutely right. With the innovations we have today, the only reason why we don't live in a post-scarcity world with unlimited food, water, energy, and housing for all is simply because of greed. And greed is the number one killer of civilizations. It brought down the Roman, Chinese, Ottoman, and British empires. It has killed and enslaved billions throughout history, and it still is killing and enslaving today. And unfortunately, we can't stop it unless we want to completely destroy our way of life. No amount of protesting will stop this perfect profit-making machine. And even if the masses saw what was going on, like in China and India, Africa, South America, it still wouldn't last. And it's because once their iPhones or cheap Shein hauls jump 3x in price, because Apple and other companies got conscious, or the government forced them to do right, most people wouldn't care long enough to let the short-term pain do its job and make change. And this is why we need for good people to get out of the rat race and get rich, because the world isn't going to change. We're living in a time where companies have more power than governments. So instead of trying to get out of this system or break the system, you can actually change the system from the inside, because it is very easy to play this game once you realize the game you're playing. Because no one but the few even realize that they're playing a game, but not as a player, but as pieces on the board. Once you understand that, you'll understand that you'll never have real influence and make changes until you become a player. Now for me as a financier, I've helped wealthy people grow their already massive amounts of wealth even more. And my wife being in marketing, I've seen how companies shape and condition us into having no privacy, eating cancerous foods, becoming overly depressed and dependent on electronics and social media, and overconsume on cheap clothes and things we wouldn't even normally buy. But once you realize it's all a game, you start looking at the world completely different. So we've seen how the game works. And here are a few things I want to share with you to get you started on your journey out of the matrix. Number one, to play the game, you need to become a player. What that means is, if you're playing the game of capitalism, you need to become a capitalist. And all capitalists have companies. So the first thing you need to do is start a company. Not a business, but register a company. You see, most people think you need an idea first before starting a company, when you should actually start a company first and build up its fundability, its access to capital. Because wealthy people do not use their money, they use other people's money. Number two, you need to learn how money flows. Now this is something I never really see people talk about, but you have to understand where and why money goes into certain industries. Now it's one thing to see and hear that big money goes into real estate, but it's something completely different to know what sections and why they're investing in that part of real estate or any industry. Number three is probably the most important. It's game plan, build a team, and get started. Now I know there's multiple things, but most people will look at a video and think they understand it and then get started. But part of game planning for the rich is building a team that are experts in certain parts of their idea that can help them develop a game plan and action steps. Trust me, you would be shocked how many people are actually working mostly on commission on these teams these wealthy people put together that will then go out there and develop and execute the plan they put together for them. And trust me, I've been a commission only person, but it's shocking how easy it is to get rich nowadays. But it is much, much more easier to get distracted and pulled away from pursuing your dreams. But I'm going to leave you with this. Imagine the world we would live in if Einstein and Tesla were wealthy alongside their brilliance. What imaginations from science fiction books would actually be a reality versus just wishes on a page, or projections of a far future that we're not even sure if humans will get their house in order in time to even make these ideas come true. And that's why, my dear viewer, you have to get rich, because somebody, maybe the person who's watching this video today, will be the person that gives us a moon base, or make space manufacturing a reality, or even end world hunger. But this is a journey that we all need to take before it's too late and there is no more opportunities, or the barrier of entry is so high that you have to be born into wealth to even start a business.